Judy,
Hi.
how are you doing?
Wyoming Room.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you, thank you. This is kind of an overview today because that's the way it is for me. I haven't really been here before, just a little quick glimpse and stuff. So I'm looking forward to kind of giving our viewers here at the Sheridan Channel, Channel 22, an overview of the Wyoming Room, which is an incredible resource in this community. So that's what we need to tell people about, how great of a resource it is. So I don't know where we begin, except there's all kinds of great stuff in this room. I'll tell you one thing I did see a moment ago, and that's the oldest book in the library, right? And this says it's the history of plants.
Yes. And the date on the book, it was published in 1636.
Yeah. I got to ask you, did they have movable type? Gutenberg, did that become before
I
them?
believe so.
Yeah. And this is amazing, 1636. I mean,
Yes.
we weren't even a country years. Let's go back like 150 years because you have an incredible collection about the Civil War. Can we walk over there for a
Yes.
second? War of the Rebellion, which is, I guess, what they used to call the Civil War.
Yes. This part of the Wyoming Room is the genealogy section of the Wyoming Room. So this is where people come to study their family. And this is the War of the Rebellion. These are the records of the Union and Confederate armies. And it's the
But
correspondence.
you've got volume after volume of these things.
Yes. These belong to Henry Asa Coffeen. He was one of the first mayors
I was just going to say that this is the Coffeen that we think of. When we
of
think
Coffeen Avenue. Coffeen Avenue was named after this
Now,
man.
was he a historian then? And collected all
Definitely. He
this?
was a highly educated man, and he opened the first college here in Sheridan in the 1800s. He started out in Bighorn, and he knew that Sheridan was going to prosper, so he moved his store to from Bighorn to Sheridan. And
so a lot of these are like letters back and forth?
Yes, this is correspondence between the different armies of the North and then also the South. And it took them several years to print these. So I believe the first one printed was in the early 1890s. And so he must have received these maybe every 6 months or so when they got them printed.
What an incredible collection.
Yeah,
And
I
I've got
think this is what started our collection at the library. And many of these books have names, and so that's why this is in the genealogy section. When people are doing research, they know that a family member was in the Civil War. They might find their ancestor in these books.
Fantastic, Judy. Now, something else I see on the walls here are all of these portraits of Indian princesses.
They came from all over Canada and the United States. And this is just a small section of the portraits, but we hope to get more by the midsummer. That started in 1951, actually, with Lucy Yellow Mule winning the Rodeo Queen. And it took him 2 years to organize All American Indian Days. And the first Miss Indian America contest then actually started in 1953. So this year is the 60th anniversary of the first Miss Indian America, and we'll have a reunion this summer of them. And they will be the grand marshals of the rodeo parade.
Now, here's the amazing thing about Miss Indian America. It was headquartered here in Sheridan.
It was. It was the people of Sheridan who wanted to help with all of the bigotry that was going on with the Indians, and they wanted to get rid of all of the negative signs that were in the stores, and they wanted to go across those tribal lines and open up really good communication with the Indians and the tribes across the United States. And so Sheridan won several awards for helping with opening up the communication with the tribes.
Something else, I see across the room some maps there, and can we go over there?
Yep. This is a map of the ownership of Sheridan County of 1914. And so it's the ownership of the homesteads at that time. One of the gals who works for me, her name is DeAndrea Folster. And her husband purchased another map like this in 1938. And so DeAndrea went through and researched every single parcel and ownership and deed, and she put these books together. So this is actually the history and almost an abstract of Sheridan County
You know what
from
else?
1938.
You know what else it is too is it's original research that you guys are doing right here in the Wyoming Room.
Yes, we get mostly resource documents, the actual source documents, the handwritten. And that's what we have here is the petition to have Sheridan County secede from Johnson County. We found the petition in the back room, so we've had this digitized, and now we sell these to people who might have a family member on that list that signed the petition to start Sheridan County.
Back in the day, Wyoming had just had a few counties, and they were huge. And I guess I'm sure there were people in Sheridan that said, "Hey, we're not being represented by Johnson County. It's too big. Too much stuff is going on in Buffalo, and we want our own county." It started with that petition right there. And speaking of the counties back then, let's look at this map. And the thing I like about this map, territory of Wyoming. So
Oh,
this
yes.
was obviously before Wyoming became a state, which was in
1890.
So you know, yeah, that's good. And once again, there is no Sheridan County. I don't see a Campbell County. I don't see a Weston County. Instead, I see Crook County, of course. Then there's Peace County, and then
And our county lines didn't really gel until about 1894. These young people have been hired to help me with a book. It's called Now and Then. And a photographer by the name of Anita Nichols had this idea to take photographs of the interior and exterior of the stores downtown from Dow to Burkett.
the historical section.
Yes. And we're going to publish a book this year for the celebration of the 125th anniversary of Sheridan County. And they're looking for historic photographs.
I was just going to say the now and then, the then being early historical photographs, and not just things out of the newspaper either. Your collection goes way beyond what might be in any daily newspaper back then.
Yes, we're getting all kinds of collections. We have several collections here, and we are also pulling out ads from newspapers if we don't have a photograph. And so every address on Main Street gets 2 pages. And then we're giving the timeline of a sample of who was in that store. We're going back to about, I think our first list is 1894. And there's not very many, but then we take it through history.
Fascinating. I know, for example, the hospital pharmacy is probably one of the oldest in town. It has gone through a lot of changes over the years. Then other buildings, like the Katie building, you can look at it and almost say, hey, that's what it looked like 100 years ago.
Yes, and so this is just the first of the book that we're going to do. The series, we're going to go further out in the county. So this is an ongoing project. So we hope to go to Spotted Horse and Arvada, Claremont, Parkman. And so we'll be continuing this project throughout the next few years. So it's going to be kind of a living history of Sheridan County.
You know, you took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say, people think a library is, and especially something like the Wyoming Room, is nothing but archives. But in fact, you're creating new projects, so it is a living history. We're bringing things up to date.
Yes, so many of our photographs are so fragile that this is a really nice way for us to provide it to the public. And they can have their own book, and they can pay so much for the book rather than coming in here and paying extra and extra for these copies. And this is just our way of providing the information to the public. We're kind of in between a museum here and a library.
Well, I'll tell you what, you've certainly whetted my appetite, and I'm sure people watching this right now would be interested in visiting the Wyoming Room. Tell me about your hours and how all that works.
We're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and on Saturdays 1 to 5.
Do you have to be a resident of Sheridan County or have to have a library card? Not necessarily, huh?
No library cards, it's open to anyone.
Nice. Well, Judy, this is an amazing place, and I'm just thinking the Civil War and the Indian Americas and the maps and the genealogy, the then and now. You can get lost in this place.
Yes.
You ever have to kick people out at 5 o'clock?
We do. And also,
It's time to go home.
You can see on our website the collections that we have here. Our website also has an index that you can look and do even preliminary genealogy research before you come into the room. We do have those digitized, and they're on the website.
I'm excited. I'll tell you what, we just skimmed over this, but right now I just want to tell folks that hopefully you'll be able to come down to the Wyoming Room. I know I'm going to come back as well. We're looking forward to some of those great stories, Judy.
Thanks, Ace.
Thank you. Reporting for Channel 22, the Sheridan Channel, this is Ace Young.